Well, through my eyes, it's not a loss to me. As long as I go out there, I give 110%, I give everything I have, then I'm still a winner, regardless if I come away without the decision on paper.
It's like a rematch against him?
I've asked Gonzalez for a rematch. It's not in the immediate future.
Well, it helps me a lot, you know, considering I fought like the #2 guy in the world. It puts me on a level of knowing I can't let a guy like Julian Letterlough beat me. I don't care if we're out in this backyard.
This is a critical fight for both men. They bring a lot of power. So how do Letterlough and King see it playing out?
I think what he does well is be in front of me. It's like the excellent, the perfect gentleman for me.
I don't have any predictions or anything for this fight. I just want to go out there. I want to keep my chin tucked, and I want to fight. That's all I'm concerned about doing right now, is just fighting.
Earlier in the week, King was quoted as saying it won't go the distance, there'll be a knockout. Why does King feel that way?
I don't really come for a decision because he doesn't come for one, so this is a rock'em sock'em fight. You know, it's just all about who has the most intelligence in the ring, which by far most will be me.
He says that he doesn't expect the fight to end in a decision.
Well, if he's coming here to get knocked out, then we shall give him that.
That is a breakdown in tonight's main event. Now for the strategy, it's Atlas's World.
So both Julian Letterlough and Cody King think they can knock the other out. And I think one of them will be right. But what should their battle plans be? For Letterlough, #1, throw your right hand. King has a habit of dropping his left after he jabs. So Julian must pitch right hands and make Cody pay. #2, avoid his right hand. Now the other side of the coin is that King's best punch is his right hand. So after you, Julian, throw your jab, you can't pose. You must use that same left hand to avoid King's big right. #3, bang the drum. When your opponent lays in front of you, bang his body, so movement later on will be difficult for him. Hitting his body will take away his legs. For King, your battle plan should go like this. #1, use your jab to set up right hand straight down the middle inside Letterlough's wide punches. #2, roll and rock. Roll back with your right shoulder to make his jab miss, then rock him with straight rights. #3, use your wheels. Letterlough is powerful, but he's also slow-footed. Move and keep him off balance.
All right, that is Atlas's World. Teddy, now let's take a look. I'm a fan of rock and roll, but you say roll and rock. All right, so you be Cody King. I'm Julian Letterlough. How is he going to roll and rock?
And it's not the beer.
All right, there you go.
Okay, what he's going to do is he's going to roll back his right shoulder when he sees that jab coming, take that away, and bop, come right back with that right hand. Roll and rock.
Not Miller High Life?
No. Well, yes, Miller High Life is the better beer.
All right.
That is the champion beer.
He is a guy that is just relentless. Went down in rounds 1 and rounds 11 against Gonzalez. Was knocked down in rounds 2 and 3 against Jenkins. The left hook is bread and butter. And he starts off with a double left hook. King has been knocked out twice. Michalczewski stopped him, and earlier in his career, Courtney Butler stopped him in the 6th round.
Look for right hands on both sides of the coin to be a big part of this fight.
Hey, another thing that could be a factor. King told us yesterday that he likes to drop weight, dry out right before the fight. He was a little upset that he wasn't flown in on Wednesday, came in yesterday. But more importantly, in Pennsylvania, you weigh in the morning of the fight. So rather than weighing in last night, as normally is the case, and then replenishing his system, he had to wait until this morning at 9 a.m.
And where that can hurt him is in fight strategy, the style of the fight. He's able to move more than the slower-footed Letterlough and the heavy-handed Letterlough. I believe King needs to use his legs. He may not be able to do that, at least not consistently throughout the night. If he's been weakened by making weight, he may have to stand in front like that. If he does that, he's going to have problems with the heavy-handed, tough Letterlough. Letterlough should bang that body pop on the inside. So if King does have any thoughts of using his legs later, he will take those thoughts away from him. As I said, right hands, I believe, is going to be a big part of this fight. On both sides. King's best punch is the right hand. Letterlough sometimes will leave that left hand out there, pose after he jabs, get hit with right hands. And King gets hit with right hands. He'll leave his left hand out like that right hand that just missed from Mr. KO.
Oh, there's a bad cut, it looks like, on the right eyelid of King. Looks like a cut on the right eyelid of Cotty King. Steve Smoger taking a look at it. Don't know if it was from a punch or from a clash of heads.
I'm not sure if it's the cut is only from King or if Letterlough is also cut.
Now that could be a factor. We'll get the ruling in between rounds 1 and 2 because it is a factor. There's an accidental clash of heads. This fight has to go 4 rounds.
I believe Letterlough may be cut on the right side of his head also.
Nice double left hand there by Letterlough.
Here's where the headbutt occurred.
Right there, after the Letterlough right hand, the heads came together. So here's the deal. King is cut on the right eyelid, and Letterlough is cut, looks like on his right side.
Time!
And Steve Smoger is checking on that cut. Letterlough jumps in with a left hook. Not a bad idea when a guy's cut on his right side.
Might not see that one coming from that side. Absolutely right, especially when the cut is above the eye, where it could go into the eye, impair the vision. And so far, King is fighting Letterlough's fight. Letterlough, a little cement-footed, huge at heart, huge in both hands as far as power. He likes guys to lay in front of him.
Right hand by Letterlough. Well, King said that Letterlough being right in front of him played into his hands. It's not to this point.
The only danger for Letterlough is as he comes in, right there. Where King, before Letterlough gets all the way in, will look to counterpunch. Once Letterlough's in, he's home safe. The danger is as he comes in, right there. That's it, Bob.
Oh, down goes King from a counter shot.
Big left hook. He got in close, and he landed, as you said, the bread and butter left hook. Letterlough can bang. You do not stand in front of Letterlough unless you want to have a good chance of getting knocked out.
134 of round 2. We talked about Letterlough's left hook, and what a perfect counter shot. Mr. KO living up to his reputation. King tried a left, but his was not fast enough.
What's that old saying? Don't hook with a hooker. Especially if your right hand is not up. His right hand was a little down. King hooked with the powerful Letterlough. Letterlough's hook got there first. If you're gonna hook with a guy, make sure yours is a little shorter and your right hand is up. As we said, once Letterlough got in close, it was his territory. He knew what to do. Unload bombs. He is Mr. Excitement. I agree with you, Max. Not Mr. KO, Mr. Excitement. Julian Letterlough. Give this guy a money fight. Or let him keep fighting every week on our network.
Cotty King said someone is going to get knocked out in this fight. It will not go the distance. He'll knock me out or I'll knock him out. Well, a counter left hook from Julian Letterlough ends this fight at 1:34 of round 2. Right there. Boom. King was out. Head hit the canvas. Tried to get back up. Staggered. They're getting King up in stages. That's what you do. It appears Scotty King is okay.
They do a good job here with the commissioner, Greg Serb. No doubt about it. They look out for the fighters. They were both throwing left hooks. King's was a little longer, a little slower. Letterlough's landed first.
We will talk with Julian Letterlough. Another impressive performance. He's now 17-1-1, 16 stoppages as he stops King in round 2. Here's Brian and Max.
See, we don't make this stuff up. I mean, we knew he'd be doing something spectacular. And by the way, the guy he lost to, Julio Gonzalez, gets Roy Jones Jr. next. By the way, Gonzalez went down much in the same fashion, crawled back up just to get that decision. So Letterlough has done this to a lot of guys.
I would love to see Letterlough in there with a guy like James Butler for the all-knockout war of all time on Friday night fights. The guy is pure excitement. He gets into a certain range where he can get some of his punches smothered, and guys feel kind of comfortable in there in that range because they feel they're smothering his punches. But as soon as he gets extension on one shot, that's all she wrote. I mean, the guy is just an unbelievably exciting fighter. If you hear he's fighting, you never want to miss it. And by the way, we have a guy who he was in a war with coming up pretty soon on Friday Night Fights, or is it Tuesday? Demetrius Jenkins. Another guy, Demetrius Jenkins, who just goes right to war.
And see, another thing is when he's in there with a guy like Gonzalez and he's losing on points, he's fighting the same fight. I admire that about a guy. You're not getting frustrated. He's, I'm coming at you. And he says, I'm not in a mood for no decision. He was in no mood for it tonight.
And he had the decision against Gonzalez partly because they're similar types of fighters. Not only are they good punchers and they show up to fight, but they have real heart, not front-runner heart where they're doing well and when they don't do so well, they give up. No, Gonzalez was knocked out by Julian Letterlough. It was the 11th round, was the 10th or the 11th round. Letterlough cracked him. Gonzalez fell, and it was the kind of knockdown where you watch it, you go, the fight's over, he's not getting up, and somehow picked himself up, refused to let Letterlough impose his will on him. It was just an unbelievable war, but Letterlough has just that same type of heart, and he showed it against Demetrius Jenkins on his first fight on Friday Night Fights, which was another tremendous war.
Julian Letterlough with another knockout win right now. They're all ready for him. They have him in the ring. Let's go back to Bob and Teddy with the winner in tonight's main event, Julian Letterlough. Bye.
Mr. Excitement, Mr. KO, Julian Letterlough, and boy, he stood right in front of you in that bread and butter left hook. You timed it perfectly. What did you see that you were able to land that punch so effectively?
First of all, I want to thank God for giving me the strength and the talent that I have to be able to do this. Secondly, before I answer that question, I just want to say this fight is dedicated to anybody who's ever been locked up in a penitentiary, who's on lockdown now. This goes out to y'all and my father who just passed, Wayne Williams. God bless him. Now, as far as that fight is concerned there, I watched the tape very carefully. I noticed that Mr. King is a guy who will come straight to you. He'll stand right in front of you, which is a picture-perfect fight for me. If a guy's going to do that to me all day long, I'm going to bang him up all day long, and, of course, you're going to see a technical Mr. KO knockout.
Julian, the only danger zone for you, as I saw it, was when you were first coming in. He was looking to catch you with a sneaky counter as you first came in. Once you got into the pocket, it was all you.
Exactly. I noticed that myself. I wasn't thinking at first. I was kind of like feeling him out. And then I asked myself, why am I feeling you out when I already know all I got to do is stay in your chest or straight on the outside? I want the pressure on you. You know what I mean? I'm going to put pressure on you and see just how much of this pressure you can take. And if you can take it, then I'll back up off you and reevaluate the situation. However, I didn't have to do that because you see we have a Mr. KO knockout this evening.
Are you going to change your nickname from Mr. KO to Mr. Excitement?
Why should I?
You are exciting.
What's next for you, Julian?
We'll go back to the basis. We'll go back to the drawing board and everything from the beginning, and we'll work from there.
All right, picture perfect, counter left hand. Julian Letterlough starches Scotty King at 1:34 of round number 2. A picture-perfect punch for Mr. KO. He continues to roll on. More Friday Night Fights after this.